What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Opinions from Offside. I think that was different intro music, wasn't it?
Oh, fancy. I like it. We're going places.
Nice, it was nice. But let me just, while I can, if I can, take away what is sitting over the top of our screen, because now we are all fancy and we've got all the proper gear now and no idea. Right? All the gear, but no idea. But we still got the StreamYard bit over our thing. And since we've now paid to subscribe to that, I don't want it, so you can go look at that.
See you later.
Oh, laters. Look, we've even got our own logo in the top corner, so I hope you appreciate where we're building this shiz. What's going on with you? What's going on, Kanye? All right, mate?
All is good. All is good. Another day. Unfortunately, I'm back to work tonight, but, bills need paying.
Bills do need paying. Fortunately, it's my night off tonight, so just chilling.
Well, I remember we watched the West Ham game yesterday, didn't we? What do you think of that?
Underwhelming. So that poses nicely, that leads us, segues perfectly into the first question of today. Pre-season friendlies. How important are the results of a pre-season friendly? And that will be our first little topic for today. Do results matter in pre-season?
You have got this down. I love that. I would say they do, purely because no one likes to lose. No matter even how you look at it, if it's competitive or not, nobody likes to lose. But it all depends on the manner. I suppose in that sort of situation, if you put out your main team and you lose, you're as a player, that's your main team. So, but then flip to the other side, if it's a mix of youth teams and stuff like that, you can understand the mistakes and things like that. But maybe it's more the manner in how you lose that makes the difference. But it's easier. So if you've played 5-1-5, your confidence is going to be boosted regardless.
Well, I largely agree with that. I'll add a couple of other extra points to layer it. Then I'll play devil's avocado and I'll disagree with you, right? Just for the sake of content. So the extra points are, if you're going to make mistakes and your young players are going to make mistakes, now's the time to do it. That's the first thing. Results and momentum probably do matter because confidence is a thing and winning is a habit. So that's that. But by the same token, do results really matter pre-season? I remember in the year, what would it have been? I should know. I think it was 99-2000 when West Ham got relegated. When we had that team of players like Joe Cole, Rio Ferdinand, Carrick, Defoe, Lampard, Glenn Johnson, like Canute, Canio. We won every pre-season game and looked dazzling, and then had a disastrous season and got relegated. I think it was 42 points, which was a record amount of points to go down with. So that didn't help. And by the flip side of that, I could be wrong. I need someone like Nigel Kahn to tell me, because I would have been about 5. But in the 85-86 season, West Ham's most successful season in the league, where we came third and really nearly won it until the second from last game of the season, I think we lost every pre-season game. And then Cotty and Machiavelli, they found that formula together, and then we got our highest ever finish. So I'm not sure they do really matter. But go on.
I was exactly. It would have been nice to see how in each of those seasons how you started. So was it one of those, like the season you said you nearly won it? Did you start sluggish and then just hit the floor, or maybe it was the teams you were playing? Maybe you were challenging yourself at certain levels. Right, we're going to play high competition. So then when we're playing, I don't know, say you've got like a team mid-table or lower to play first, the levels are completely different. So you're playing up here, when you're playing there, you're like, well, hold on a minute, these are nowhere near here. We can smash these, and vice versa. Maybe the other one. If you played 5 and you played like lower league
City, Dagenham and Redbridge, and then Man United or Man City or whatever.
So as an example, Liverpool's first game at the start of the year is Ipswich. The start of the season is Ipswich. We've played Betis. We've just played United. We've played Arsenal. Like, no offence to Ipswich, and touch wood, it doesn't happen. But if we've gone from playing that sort of calibre to then playing Ipswich first game, you'd expect us to be right. We'd be used to competing here. Ipswich are going to be here, so we should be like dominating, or we should be confident in that regard. So it'd be nice to see with those seasons how you actually started. Like, did you start well?
we'd have to go back and look because we got relegated once under Glenn Roeder. When in his first season, we had, I think, a 6th or 7th place finish the season before. He finished the second half of the season and we did all right. And then the next year we got one of the seasons. I think the season where we won every pre-season game and then started off, it was under Avram Grant. So it just was the most dead manager. Like, there's literally stories about players thinking, where's the gaffer? Like, he's not on a training ground and he's asleep in his office. Like, just asleep.
Crazy. Like, you know, when you hear those sort of stories, you just think, how have you got into that position? Because I'm guessing he's gone from Chelsea to West Ham. He's not getting paid peanuts. No. Like, where's this coming from? Like, is that one of those things with the friend of an agent thing, like we mentioned before?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It? There's another story. West Ham people would know this, but you might get a laugh out of it. We lost away, and Karen Brady sacked him on the bus and said you sacked him after the game and said you're not getting on the team bus, like you're done. Would have let him on the bus to come home from somewhere like Wigan or somewhere. I forget the sketchy on the detail. And Scott Parker had to stand up and go, like, that's out of order. Look, he might have lost his job, but we're a team, like, let him on the bus.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like such a disaster.
I think it was Carlton Cole was telling that story on another podcast I was listening to. Like, I'm sure Carlton Cole said that, but like that's ridiculous. Like, just, I can understand if that's the case, but let him get home, let him get back. Listen, we need a meeting in the office tomorrow.
In the morning, see me tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Yeah, there's better ways of doing it. Yeah, you know it's coming. Like, at least that way it gives you a chance to prepare yourself as, listen, thanks very much. But to do it and then not let him on the bus, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, this has been the problem with West Ham owners largely. They're classless. But coming back to the topic about pre-season friendlies, I think what you do want to see is you do want to see the fitness improve. Because you and I, I mean, I can hardly shout as a fat lad, but you and I both said last night, both a couple of the West Ham players and a couple of Crystal Palace players looked a bit heavy. This is the penultimate pre-season friendly before the season starts. We've got Salta Vigo next. And the problem is we don't really look any fitter and we don't seem to be embedding in Lopetegui's new patterns of play. And that's a problem for me. Not the results, but just the fact that I'm not seeing it come together. And by now, we were both saying off camera last night when we were having a beer, by now, you should maybe start in either your first 11 for a half or your first choice back line and then a smattering of people you want to get minutes out of and see how they fit in the midfield or whatever, and then maybe 45 minutes for each of your strikers. But it was just wholesale changes again. There's no chemistry and there's no cohesion between the players at the moment. They've gone so long being scared of the ball and having like 25% possession with Moyes that now they're being asked to play in a different way, more containing the ball and controlling possession, that they seem lost with it. They seem lost under press. They seem to not know where they're supposed to be defensively. And that, for me, is a problem. Like, not specifically with West Ham, but using those points. Like, by now, you want to be seeing the evolution through the pre-season games, that you're starting to come to fitness like a boxer or an MMA fighter going through training camp. A week out, you should be at full fitness. You should be just slowing down, keeping yourself loose. You should know your game plan and all your tactics. But it just seems like, we're really not there yet. How about in terms of you and anything to come back on that? And how about in terms of you with the Liverpool game?
Yeah, well, when we watched it yesterday, I thought, like, kudos. He first 20 minutes, he just looked a bit lost. Like, he was sort of like on an inside 10 position and he just wasn't getting the ball. But then West Ham, looked really dangerous when you went back to the way Moyes was playing. The minute you knocked the ball forward, you scored from Anderson's mistake, Antonio bursting through, and then a couple of times the long ball, Antonio was holding it up. Kudos then actually went out wide and drifted in, which made him hard to mark, because every time he was going up against Mitchell had a great game, really good game. Kudos had to go inside the middle because Mitchell just had him, just didn't give him a sniff. So, like, we watched the parts of it where you had the ball. I like the fact that your line was higher. You were playing a good 10 yards further up than I'd expect to see from Moyes.
Getting caught in behind, though, weren't we, constantly?
A little bit, but not as much. But you usually got caught in behind when the bad passes into the middle went. That's what it was. So Crystal Palace did really well in letting the passes go in from Mavropanos. He looked like the passings he was doing were like dangerous, like little stuff you try in their 18, like trying to thread it between two players. It was crazy for him to try that.
He did that on about 84 minutes, didn't he? And we both jumped out of our seat, like, what are you doing? And I said, maybe it's the fact we're 3-1 down with 6 minutes of normal time to go. Perhaps he's trying to force the issue. But I just couldn't see the logic in that. And also, you had a midfield there of Soucek and Ward-Prowse, who are both dreadful together. They don't work together. They're like, both of them, they're like slow FC. Like, they're just, they don't work very well together. But it's a worry. I'm not seeing patterns of play yet.
Yeah, I think when I've just watched the highlights of Liverpool game against United, and we were doing something very similar, but the mistakes were coming from players which you'd expect not really to start. So a couple of the younger players, that Vandenberg, he had a couple of sloppy passes which gave United chances. Nat Phillips had one or two, but that's to think maybe they've not played as much, or maybe they're just trying to get to the level they need to be at. But we looked all right last night. Carvalho looks really good. For his goal, he absolutely sent Casemiro to the shop. Little fake shot, and Casemiro's missed it, gone to turn and just collapsed to a knee, and just watched him like left foot it in. Salah looked like he had the bit. Oh, I don't like to mention Melvin Blue, but
poor old Melvin. Sorry, mate.
But then Salah looked sharp, especially for Curtis Jones's goal. Yeah, we looked all right, but again, like you say, obviously I've not had that level of pre-season training. How much does a week change it? If the season starts in a week, how much can a week change? Like, but from my point of view, we used to train once a week, twice a week max. So but imagine you do that day in, day out. Maybe that 1 week can make a huge difference.
I will caveat it though with like you were saying with Liverpool, and I didn't see that game. It wasn't our first 11, so because of the adverse weather over in Tampa, they decided to play a 30-minute each half game in the afternoon, in which Paquetá and Bowen played in that and Ings. So we've still got Alvarez to come back. We've still got Areola to come back. So that neither team, and not in any of the pre-season friendlies, have we seen what is likely to be our first 11 or anywhere near it. But then again, that's a worry, isn't it? Like, there's one more pre-season game to go, and we're still not seeing them play as a unit under a new manager with a new philosophy.
Yeah,
that's a worry, no?
I think you should see the style of what you're going to play. Like Liverpool last night, we were very much still similar to how Klopp was playing, with the foot going forward, just a bit more possession-based in defence. Right? It wasn't that rock and roll, let's get the ball to the forwards before they can get set up. So, maybe by this time, I mean, he would have had, 4 weeks minimum with most of those players now. Bowen, Paquetá, Alvarez.
Soucek and Sofal have been away with Czech Republic, Czechia, whatever they are now.
But surely you'd have a style now. You'd have a way, like, this is how we're going to play. Like, when we watched it last night, it wasn't the clearest of how they were going to play.
No, but then this is the worry. Not only have they been away, so there's Crescencio Summerfield's just been signed yesterday.
Yeah.
So he needs to come in and embed, and he's not played a minute with the rest of his teammates or understood the way Lopetegui wants to play. We're expecting any day Wan-Bissaka to be signed at right back. So I know he's a good professional that's played at a good standard. He still hasn't played with those teammates. We're also either after Duran or Fuckrug. Was it Fulkrug, whatever his name is? Well, I was going to say, so just to finish the point, it's the same thing. Like, they're not going to have played together at all. There's going to be no cohesion. And I don't think you can start slow in the Premier League, because you lose your first few. You're playing catch-up. You're at the bottom of the league, and then everyone's on the new manager's back. The fans that are not so patient will be on their back. But I know it's been quite a West Ham heavy chat today, but just because we've been talking about the pre-season friendlies and Liverpool as well. You said earlier on about when West Ham switched back to playing a bit more Moisey and having Antonio holding it up, running the channels. Do you think that's maybe why there's talk of this Fulkrug now? Is he that kind of player?
He looks it. He looks very similar to that, but without the pace of Antonio, but with a bit more you'd expect him to take a chance. I mean, Antonio's goal yesterday, we were both surprised that he took it away so well. Like, he took it really well. Yeah. So, yeah, I think if that falls to Fulrig, you're happy with, like, yes, I want him on that finish. Well, I don't see him doing the channel running that Antonio will do, putting the pressure on the defence to get those, rather than easy passes out. They've had to take a risk or go long, which 50-50, you got a chance to get the ball back. I don't see Fulrig doing that, but I see Duran doing that.
Yeah,
so I think maybe, is this one of those where, all right, if you don't want to sell Duran, we'll go for someone else.
But they do want
for them to go. Yeah. So maybe then, listen, we're the only ones interested now. Like, if we sign this guy, we're not interested. So decide now, sort your valuation out.
Do you think that might be a bit of a red herring? Like, they're saying, okay, we'll move on then. And then there's all this noise about the German fella. You know what I mean? And that might be to, like, flush Villa out. There's 2.5 million difference, and they're both being petty. It's crazy. Let me just ask you this as a neutral, though. Seeing a bit last night at a style of play they're trying to do, and we're not really seeing patterns. Which player do you think would suit the team more? As a neutral, as a Liverpool fan looking at the West Ham, which player do you think would suit more?
Duran, purely because not only has he already played in England, when he's played well. I know he's played understudy to Watkins, but the way, if you looked at the strikers, the closest one that you're linked to, like, say, is Watkins. So if he's already played with Watkins and he's played in that style of play to Antonio, that's what you want. So I think if you had a Watkins in your team or a Duran who's played similar to Watkins, I think that's more closer to Antonio than Fulrig.
Yeah, I make you right. Just as we finish up, because we decided to try to shorten these a little bit, because we're doing 40, 50 minutes, an hour-long episodes, and I think maybe it's a little bit overwhelming for people. Best thing you could do for us is let us know what kind of length of episodes you want. Is if you click on there and it's like 50 minutes, do you think that's long, and put it on in the background or whatever, or do you think little snippets are maybe better? So let us know, because we're doing this for you and we're still trying to figure it out. Before we go, thanks for all the lovely feedback and comments and interaction. That's exactly what we need in the comments below, as well as on all the socials. We had a comment from John Hume, who hit us with an obscure player we're going to talk about, and he came with the legend and what goals he scored. He threw it right back to Tony Yeboah. So should we take it from there? Are
you good with Yeboah, or am I starting? I'll tell you what, I'll be John. So John said Yeboah.
And then I came back with fullback and free kick and penalty taker, Ian Hart.
Oh, terrible player. Just very much like I thought he was rubbish. Not rubbish, but I thought he was a poor man's Fabio Aurelio.
Right. Yeah.
Ball not moving, brilliant. But just
dead balls were fine.
Yeah. But that players at the minute struggle with that now. We've seen the corners yesterday from Ward-Prowse. But anyway, we digest.
We digest indeed. We do digest indeed.
Right, so if we go in Leeds, I'm going to go old school one for you. Phil Masinga.
Goodness me. Yeah, I'm going to come back at you with Lucas Radaby.
Oh, wow. What a player, though. What a player.
Yeah.
Gary Kelly.
Was he Irish?
No, he was English. English right back.
Was he really? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. Oh, was he Irish? No,
I think he might have been.
Yeah, he might have been Irish. Yeah.
Yeah. I bumped into this fella once when I was a kid. He was on the train on the London Underground, and I was looking at him, and I couldn't work out if it was him. And another bloke went up and said hello, John Lukich, the goalkeeper.
Oh yeah, big Johnny Lukes, ex-Arsenal.
Yeah. Ex-Arsenal, yeah, Arsenal and Leeds.
Yeah. Well, if we're going to go goalkeepers, then I will give you Nigel Martin.
England goalkeeper for a time, wasn't he?
I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was really good.
Nigel Martin and Tim Flowers fighting it out, wasn't it?
Yeah. I remember that. And then Seaman come along and took both the spots.
Seaman taking the spots. Yeah, there's the joke there, definitely. David Weatherall.
Scored a goal against Liverpool, him.
Yeah.
Right, we'll go with Jason Wilcox.
Goodness me. I'll come back at you. Last two or three then, and we'll wrap this up. Tony DeRigo.
Super Tony. We'll go with. I don't know. Super Tony. Super Tony.
You spit my coffee out.
What about? You know what? Let's go. Mark Viduka.
Mark Viduka was a baller.
Absolute
Leeds.
baller,
Mate. Australian. He was like a heavy set guy when he didn't stop scoring goals that season.
He reminded me of a Christian Vieira, but with a bit of skill.
Yeah, the Italian player. Yeah, that's exactly what he was like.
Yes.
And I'm finishing off with Kevin Sharp.
Oh, I don't know Kevin Sharp, but I'll allow it. I know what I was going to. Weirdly enough, you said Kevin Sharp. I was going to go Lee Sharp.
Lee Sharp's another shout. Yeah,
because he played for Leeds.
Neither of us have mentioned Lee Bowyer or Woodgate.
Yeah, Bowyer, Woodgate.
Oh no, I've got one for you to finish off.
If it's going to be the same as me, innit?
Harry Kuehl.
Oh, see, I was going to go Eric Backer.
Eric Backer. Harry Kuehl. He had a purple spell as well, did he not? Do you remember that?
Brilliant. He did for like 2 years. He was just destructive, and then Liverpool took him, and he just got injured.
Yeah, it's a shame. Another Australian. Right, I think we're going to have to leave it there, bruv. We'll make this one a little bit shorter and we'll see what people think. So, as always, thank you for joining us. Let us know in the comments what you think and if you think we're talking nonsense or if you're loving it. Look, big shout out for both of us. Some of the comments have been lovely so far, haven't they? Really picked us up.
So good. It's really, really nice, yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll leave it there then, folks. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us once again on
Opinions from Offside.
Opinions from Offside. Thanks so much, folks. See you soon.
Cheers, guys.